What up, y'all? In this video, I'm gonna be breaking down the exact sales process my creative agency uses to generate $40,000 or $50,000 in sales every single month. This is actually just a segment from a much bigger workshop that I did with my buddy RJ, and I basically go over everything within our sales process. So everything from pre-qualifying prospects before you even meet with them to make sure they're a good fit using a discovery form, how to pre-frame yourself so that you can charge higher rates without having to do really anything else. Just it's all these like little subtle cues leading into the sales meeting, which we're gonna break down the sales meeting, overcoming objections, closing the deal. Basically everything that me and my team do, we're gonna break down in this video. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, like, subscribe, comment below, let me know what other questions you got, and I'll keep dropping the videos for you guys. See ya. So my process is, someone hits me up, sales meeting, always 3 to 4 days out. I don't care if I'm not doing shit. Dude, I'm super busy. Let's set something up in a couple days. You know, I send them a Calendly link. Usually that also has a discovery form or a couple questions, like 5 questions maybe. Just tell me about your business. What's your website? What are you hoping to accomplish with video? If someone's not gonna take 3 minutes to answer these basic questions and schedule a call with me, to work with them is probably gonna be a nightmare. They're gonna think that they own me at every step of the way, right? So this is where the pre-frame, the sales starts the second I get a text and it's like, hey, would love to, I'm so pumped, this is gonna be awesome. Let's set up a proper time. It's gotta be a couple days out. It shows I'm busy, I'm in demand, and I got shit going on. When you sit there and I'm like, I got nothing going on, let me jump, I can jump on any time. Why don't you have anything going on? Why are you willing to just drop, like, are you even working with people? I thought you were busy, you know? Yeah. So that's step 1. Set the appointment 3 or 4 days out. Step 2 is use the discovery form in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes, like what I'm doing with DNC now is I'm trying to get more of a qualifier to jump on a quick 15-minute call, because I know a lot of people just like need to talk. But in general, it's always been, I have 5 or 10 questions. I got this cool thing called a discovery form. Only takes about 5 minutes. It's just gonna let me do a bunch of homework on my back end. So when we meet, we can actually talk about strategies and in-depth stuff instead of just high-level introduction. It's just part of my process. I'm a freak, but I promise you it's all for a very specific reason. So discovery form goes out. In the actual meeting, immediately I will say, you know, 1 or 2 rapport building things. And then it's, hey, look, thanks so much for taking the time to meet with me. Basically, the way I like to run these calls is just ask you a bunch of questions about your business, try to understand what's going on, and see where and if we might be able to help. If we can, I'll go over some of the packages we offer, talk about how it all works, and how we can get you like fast results with it. If not, I can even refer you to some other people in the area. All that sound good? Cool. Down to get started? Cool. Now I have permission to ask them any question I want. Like instead of like coming in, a client says, well, what do you charge? Look, we do a lot of different things for our clients, but typically the way I like to run these sales meetings is just ask you a bunch of questions about your business so I can understand and see if we're a good fit. Yeah. But like, I only care about what your day rate is. Look, when Henry Ford asked people what they wanted, they all said a faster horse. He knew they wanted to get from point A to B faster. That's kind of how we come in to help you. We do a lot of different things. I don't want to go rant about X, Y, and Z ad campaigns if you need a VBC. We're just going to waste hours. So if we can't jump into the questions, no worries, we're probably just not the right fit for you. And I'll just walk away from that meeting. 90% of the time though, they're like, okay, let's do it. So you jump into questions. The simple questions are, where are you at? Where do you want to go? What's your plan to get there? I'm at $5 grand a month. I want to get to 20 grand a month. My plan to get there is do more organic content. Oh, amazing. So how many posts are you going to do each month? Well, I've been doing 5, I'm trying to get to 30. Cool, and you're doing all that creation yourself? What are the categories or content styles you're focused on? What is your overall brand messaging and strategy? Like, they're like, what the fuck? I don't know any of this, man. And I'm like, so like, I totally think you can do it, but my big concern is you have this plan and you don't realize as you 6x your posts online, you told me you're already spending 3 hours a day on Instagram trying to like comment, respond to people, this and that. What do you think happens as you get more DMs? What do you think happens now as people join your program and now they have questions and you don't have a support team? What happens here? So my concern is actually taking this on. You think you're gonna get to here in 6 months, but the reality is like you're further behind than you think. Now we can help you get there 10 times faster, but it requires an investment. It's up to you. Like, would you rather take 12 months to get there or have us get it set up in 3? Based on what you're selling, if I were you, I would be looking at investing in this because we only need 5 sales for this to break even. You're selling a 5K coaching package, you know, you want to get 100 people, like, we have to have the framework in place. There's no other way around it. This is literally designed to meet your goals. If I don't know about that client, if I don't know about their business, if I don't know about their current situation, if I don't know what happens if they can't make payroll, they have to fire people, they get divorced, they lose their family, whatever, like all those little things are what you actually want to know in the sales process. You should be sitting there being like, do I want to work with this client and this company? Will they be a good fit? Versus like, how do I get them to say yes to this idea I have in my head? And if you approach it that way and start asking the questions to truly understand, you saw what I just did. You're just flipping it to be like, it makes no sense. You told me you're willing to do anything it takes to get to 10K a month. You've been stuck in that spot for 3 years. But when it comes time to like actually do it, you're not willing to put the credit card down. Like, there's something that will change the rest of your entire life. So you clearly don't either see the value in it or you don't want it bad enough. No, I see the value, bro, and I really want it. You know, it's like, so what are we talking about? Visa or MasterCard? Like, I literally have to push people that way in sales sometimes. The only way I can do that is when I know exactly where they're at.
So you don't know, like, sticking with, like, outside of, like, the coaching, example, like, for dealing with an actual, like, large company, whatever, or supposedly, you don't really know if they're actually qualified until you actually get on the phone call with them, because you're not asking any hardcore questions before that time.
Correct.
Okay.
It's simple in the beginning. It's a couple softball questions. Mm-hmm. What's your brand? Who's your ideal customer? We use like a calendar scheduler, to where once they pick the time, like a couple questions usually pop up. But you can also use Calendly and just fill out questions. The big thing is, if someone's not willing to give you some info and you ask who's your ideal customer and they can't answer it, like, those are the startups that are just like, ooh, I had this idea randomly one day to do a video for my new startup, but I don't know who my customer is, I don't know what the business is, I don't know what this is. I'm like, start with organic. Like, you're gonna waste all this money on production just to have to redo it in 6 months as your shit changes. Like, stop worrying about your website. Like, call people, pick up the phone. Like, you don't need this digital infrastructure to get clients. One of my boys, it blew my mind, because when he did 250 grand in sales, only selling video business cards, with 0 social media, and just like a basic landing page that was like a couple pictures. And meanwhile, I had 6 different social media platforms. You know, I was trying to pump out ads and build like chatbot automations and all this stuff. And I'm like, he's like, I just go to the Chamber of Commerce like every week for a meeting, and that's it. And I just built relationships with those people. And like, it just showed me like one avenue, one thing can be 10 times more powerful than spreading your energy across 10 different platforms where you're barely doing anything. So yeah, this is the calendar scheduler. Basically, as you just click one, select, you get a couple questions, simple. You know, and it's the same thing on Calendly. Like, I have different calendars set up for different calls, right? So I have my one-on-one coaching calls. I have private calls with like either a client, friend, whatever, something. I just need to send them the link because I'm traveling. These are just quick like internal meetings. These were old coaching calls. But like, I build different calendars and I create certain days for only sales calls. So like, in the beginning, it was just anything would come up, I would do it. And I realized how much of my day was just me reacting to other people and doing what they needed me to do. And then I started putting my phone on silent, turning off all notifications, and certain days I just wouldn't speak to people. So Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays became sales days. I would only open up those days to talk. Tuesdays and Thursdays I could edit and then work with the team internally. That was like a first big step in like systematizing. Now it's usually Thursday, Fridays are calls, and Saturday through Wednesday are just like deep work days. Try not to schedule anything, be able to work on whatever I need to. It takes time and it's always changing. And every time I launch into like rebuild a program right now, I have less calls even, because I'm just like, this just needs to get built. And yeah.
Quick question. Based on the on the calls you have to do, in your experience, what's like the no-show rate to people to the calls? What do you charge for?
For sales calls in the mastermind, I would say at least 20% 20 to 30% were no-shows. The couple ways you can increase or decrease the no-show rate, one is don't let people schedule calls too far out. Don't open your calendar for 30 days. Someone books it in 30 days, you know where you're gonna be in 30 days? Good, because I don't. I was hoping you didn't. For DNC media, I'll have the 3-day gap, and then it's like up to 10 days. Usually. With coaching, it's the opposite. I have the next 2 days open. Like I want them right then and there. They're feeling pain, they're struggling, they can't figure this out with the client, they just want to talk to someone. I remember when I was in the spot and it was like, all I wanted was like someone to tell me what to do, So I try to create the calendars different based on who the customer is and the customer journey. Like that's where it all ties back to really looking at the brand, the strategy, and like who's coming in, where are they coming from, what spot are they in right now, and how do we create something that really like speaks to them.